Alright, welcome back to the shop. Today we've got an old brass pot, copper kettle or whatever. I think it's brass. It's seen better days. The bottom, I can see daylight through it. I don't think you'll be able to see it that way. There's some pretty catastrophic holes in the side. It's been sort of glued together in spots. It's got some sort of the best thing I've heard so far is flux on here, and chances are this has been soldered together with lead. So with that being said, what I want to do is just sort of clean this up, but I want to clean it up in a way that doesn't sort of generate any more particulate than possible. So I think what I'm going to try to do is just use some rubbing compound. I bought a thing of brass polish, and it just escapes me. I don't know where it's at right now. It'll turn up sooner or later. But for my little bit of internet research, I found that lemon juice, salt, vinegar, ketchup, beer, anything works to clean brass. So anyway, we're just going to take a stab at this and at least get started. I'm not going to finish it tonight, but we'll get a little bit of content, at least get this video started. So let's see. I got another camera here that maybe gets a little bit better view. Now, the primary ingredient in this rubbing compound that I have is kerosene. So I don't feel like sitting down here and it's sort of late, so I should be getting to bed. But what I'm going to do is leave a stripe here and cover the top, and when I come back tomorrow we'll see how this shapes up, if it wipes down smoother or whether it makes any difference by leaving it on there or not. So anyway, alright, here we are on day 2. I left it sit overnight with this rubbing compound on there, and we're going to see if that makes any bit of a difference at all. I think probably the good thing about this rubbing compound is that it sort of adds a little bit of a, it's going to take whatever dust and sort of turn it into a slurry, if you will. And, so right now I can see that leaving it on there overnight didn't seem to do anything at all. It is working. Let's do a quick experiment while we're here. Let's try something. Try something else. WD-40 is great for a lot of stuff. I don't know if it will make a discernible difference if that rubbing compound is actually doing anything, whether it's all the Scotch-Brite pad. Alright, so I'm not sure how that turned out. I've got this other camera taking pictures at every half a second for time-lapse purposes. And as I move this around, it really doesn't show. It might not come out right. But anyway, there's a lot of work to get through the patina on this. It's just arduous. So I took a roll-lock disc and on one of the fiber wheels and started to sort of knock down the really thick stuff. And then that sort of would allow. I used a couple different cleaners. I used Super Purple, like engine cleaner. I used WD-40. I used the rubbing compound. I also used some windshield washer fluid. Windshield washer fluid is a very cheap cleaner that most people just dump in their car, but it's great it's cheaper than Windex, and it's pretty good for soaking parts, and it's cheap. And for you guys that live up north, it's not going to freeze either. So anyway, I sort of a discounted cleaner, and I think I paid, like $1 for this, $1.50, something like that. Pound for pound, dollar for dollar, it's probably one of the better cleaners you can get out there. But anyway, so I've got this cleaned up just about as much as I think it needs to be. This isn't going to be perfect. I understand that it's not going to be every last little thing, because I would argue that there's a little bit of character to it then. The front, right here, this is actually loose. And what I thought was like JB Weld on here is actually lead. So I took care not to sort of aspirate any of this stuff and try to get it into the air, so I constantly was using a spray bottle with one of the cleaners in it to sort of keep everything down, and it just sort of turned into a muddy mess on my desk. But anyway, I think most of the lead was relegated to this part here. So anyway, I went through it with a series of power tools, and what I found that worked the best was I had taken this isn't the one with the roll-lock disc on it, or the hook and loop, the Velcro, and just stuck a piece of Scotch-Brite to the end. That worked very well. It threw probably 20 of these across the shop, and every time it hit the ground, they'd run up underneath the workbench or something like that. So anyway, I went through a lot of this stuff, but it seemed to work out all right. But now, my problem is when I try to take this over to the buffer, it's just awkward, and there's really no good way to sort of move it around the buffer. But I have a tool for that. I have a corded buffer. It's a what is it actually? It's a quarter horsepower motor, and I just have a. Oh, this is sort of dangerous. Gotta be careful here. On a flex shaft. So you guys that are always teasing me about getting a die grinder, this is my die grinder. It's a little bit bigger than most, but it works very well for, if you had to get out to, I don't know, I've used it on the air compressor, the big air compressor, stuff I couldn't get into the shop, and I wouldn't say it replaces a 4.5-inch angle grinder. Is probably a good replacement for this, but this is sort of a neat tool that I picked up at the flea market for $20. But anyway, what I'm going to try to do is get some film of this, and I'm going to use this brass and copper brown compound and try to polish this up a little bit, and hopefully not bend anything or hurt myself. Now I'll do a before and after for sure, but just because I can't resist. Look at the difference on that. That's what it really looked like. Now we're not quite done yet, but see yourself there. It's coming out pretty good. Alright, so now that I've spent the better part of this evening polishing this thing up, I want to preserve it. I don't want my mom to have to come back and polish this thing all the time. So I'm going to use boiled linseed oil. There is a lot of information on the internet about what you can use, what you're supposed to use, all sorts of stuff. I mean, just lots and lots and lots of information out there. And you can sort of work yourself into a fit trying to figure out what to do. I am not convinced that this is the exact best thing to do. But, you know, I did come across it, and somebody else thinks it works, and it's something I have. And, you know, we'll see how it works, and if it doesn't work, then I know next time that boiled linseed oil isn't a good thing. But what I like about it is that it's very easy to apply. Paste wax, you know, you have to get into every nook and cranny or else it's going to show. This you know, it's oil, so it's got some sort of wantingness to run and stick to everything that it gets to, as opposed to the paste wax, which is more static. So it's something we're going to try here, and we'll see how it works out. And the one thing I would caution, I was talking to Ben Mall the other day, and he was asking me about the vices, what I'd finished them with, and what I'm doing to keep my tools from rusting. And I mentioned that I've been using the boiled linseed oil, but in one of the viewers, a couple of the viewers had told me that this doesn't really dry out as much as it oxidizes, and when things oxidize, they create heat. It's actually what a cutting torch is doing when it's going through metal. It's oxidizing the metal so fast it's burning through it. So anyway, when things oxidize, they generate heat, and they will spontaneously combust. I believe someone said that Project Farm tested that out. I would love his channel. I need to spend some time looking for it. But anyway, I would err on the side of caution and just assume that these things are going to catch fire, so don't leave them balled up around the shop. What I do is I take them outside and I light them on fire. I put them in the little burn pit, and I don't leave anything to chance, because if they're in a garbage can or I forget about them or something like that, and I don't set them aside and say I'm going to come back after dinner. The minute that I'm done, I don't put this down. I walk right out and put it, set it on fire. So anyway, my neighbors probably think I'm crazy for burning toilet paper or shop rags, but anyway. Now, I would hope not to see any comments about, oh, you should have taken it the whole way and done this and done that. This is too far gone. This has got holes in it. It's got all sorts of stuff, like some sort of epoxy on the inside. It's got lead all over the damn thing. You know, we're not going to use this. My mom drinks out of a Yeti. This thing's like 150 years old. She doesn't need this. This is a wall hanger for sure. Like I said, most of the things I do in my shop go to get used, but occasionally, you know, this is for the sake of art. So, anyway, I'll probably come back later on and give this another wipe down, because the first time's usually never enough. But I'm going to say that I am done with this one, and then I'm pretty happy with the way it looks. I think all in all, for a wall hanger, these things, they do take a real nice shine. It's got a lot of dents, got a lot of character to it, but you know, this is just something that's going to sit on the bookshelf, and hopefully my mom likes it. So anyway, thanks Mom for giving me this to put on the channel, and for sharing it with the rest of the people. And anyway, thank you for watching, subscribing, and as always, leaving your comments. So thanks, have a good night.